What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. All right, my MVP ladder. So I'm going to start doing this every weekend, and I was thinking long and hard about this because I wanted to talk MVP, but I don't want it to look like what my prediction would be for who's going to win the MVP, because it just is. It's so much based on narrative, which I find profoundly uninteresting. It's so much based on voting trends that I disagree with, and specific things that I don't think should factor into MVP. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to do this MVP ladder every weekend as though it's my own. Meaning this is just simply how I think the MVP award should work. I've made one tweak to my MVP criteria. I used to in the past be hey, you got to factor in postseason success. All of this is part of a journey towards the playoffs and towards the Larry O'Brien. It's a stepping stone in that direction. But the league has made it abundantly clear through their voting tendencies that they don't care about the postseason. So what I'm going to do is my off-season player rankings that I do every August, those are going to be based on playoff success. And I want my MVP ladders during the season to strictly be a recognition of overall two-way impact on winning by a single player. And the one thing I'll do to weight it is degree of difficulty and what your team needs out of you compared to the roster availabilities. I'm going to use that as kind of a swing factor in some of these cases. All right, so I'm going to be counting down from 10. This first week, I'm going to hit all 10 players. In the future, I'm just going to talk about the movement from specific guys. But number 10 so far for our first MVP ladder, Kevin Durant. He's been the one stable force for a team that's been riddled with injuries to start the season. He's averaging 31 points per game, which is the second highest mark of his career on 64% true shooting. And he's legitimately flirting with a 50-50-90 season, meaning 50% from the field, 50% from three, and 90% from the line. He is still one of the most efficient scorers in basketball, and he's done a lot to stabilize, like I said, a pretty inconsistent environment with injuries there in Phoenix. Number 9, Jason Tatum. I'm a little disappointed in him this season. He's settling for a shit ton of pull-up jump shots, even though he can't make them. I've been a little bit disappointed with him at the end of games as well. That said, still the most efficient scoring season of his career. And the lower volume mostly has to just do with some of the roster changes they went through over the summer. He's also been the fourth best post-up player in the league this year. 22 players in the NBA have run at least 75 post-ups, and he's fourth in efficiency at 1.15 points per possession. Number 8, LeBron James. He's averaging 25, 8, and 7, shooting a career high from 2-point range, 41% from 3, which matches his best season in 2013, which was 64% true shooting. Also averaging his highest amount of steals per game since 2015. And this is the crazy one for LeBron in his MVP case. The Lakers are 18 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor versus when he's off. He also had the most impressive individual accomplishment of the season so far, winning the in-season tournament MVP, dominating a field that included Kevin Durant, that included Giannis Antetokounmpo, that included Damian Lillard, that included Jason Tatum, that included Tyrese Haliburton. Just a stacked field that he ended up at the top of the pile at the end of it and won the MVP. LeBron's at number 8. Number 7, De'Aaron Fox. He is the best combination of pull-up shooting and downhill speed in the NBA this year. He's been the second best pull-up jump shooter in the league behind Tyrese Haliburton, making his pull-up jump shots at 1.14 points per shot, which is insane. He also is the third best guard at scoring in the paint. He scored 220 points in the paint this year, which is behind only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Tyrese Maxey, both of which are lesser pull-up shooters than De'Aaron Fox this season. He's led the Kings to a lot of wins over good teams, most recently SGA and the Thunder. He's gone head-to-head with a lot of the best players in the league and come out on top this season. I have him at number 7. Number 6, Nikola Jokic. His jumper's been off this year. A Jokic jumper has been worth 0.22 points fewer than they were worth last year, but still averaging a career high in points, still at 61% in true shooting, leads the league in rebounds at 13 rebounds per game, and the Nuggets are the 2 seed in the West, despite Jamal Murray missing a lot of time in and out of the lineup. Number 5, Luka Donic. Also having the most efficient scoring season of his career, fueled by excellent pull-up shooting. He's shooting 54% in effective field goal percentage on his pull-up jump shot. That reliable step-back jump shot that he's hitting right now is just killing teams. And he's been also, similar to Kevin Durant, the most consistent force on a surprisingly good team, despite his co-star being out a lot. Kyrie Irving has played in just 541 of 1,152 minutes for the Mavs this year. And the Mavericks are 15-9 in the 4 seed, which is a far cry from where they were last year. I have him at number 5. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 4. The Thunder are just 3 games back of the best record in the league at 15-8. He's averaging 31, 6, and 6 on a career-high 64% true shooting percentage. And his self-creation metrics are off the charts. 1.23 points per post-up. 1.19 points per ISO, 1.09 points per pick and roll. Those are all off the charts. And now he's consistently drawing 2 to the ball and pick and roll, which for all of the ball handling and shooting and passing that they have on the backside there when they run those 4-on-3s has been deadly for the Thunder. They get great shots every time. I have SGA at number 4. Number 3, Tyrese Haliburton. He's the best pick and roll ball handler in the year by a mile. He's the best pull-up shooter in the league by a mile. He's entered into my top tier of passers this year. He's just single-handedly anchoring the best offense in basketball. I think he's on an all-time great trajectory. He's having an incredible season. I'm a huge Tyrese Haliburton fan. Even against that ridiculously aggressive Bucks coverage the other day, I thought he did really well, given the amount of talent that's around him. Number 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo. It feels kind of like a revenge campaign for him. His night-to-night effort is the highest that I've seen since his MVP seasons. Career-high 32 points per game. Career-high 66% true shooting. Career-high offensive rebounds per game. Big one for him. And his touch away from the rim is better than it's been in a couple of seasons. All super, super encouraging. He's also having an excellent defensive season. Changed that Pacers game the other night just by aggressively switching onto Tyrese Haliburton and taking away some of the advantages he naturally gets in ball screens. But number 1, a clear number 1 at this point in the season is Joel Embiid. 34 points per game, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists on 64% true shooting. They are 16-7 despite losing James Harden and just 2 games back of the best record in basketball. Here's an encouraging stat for you too. 2 years ago, Joel Embiid made just 6 field goals per game in the paint. Last year, 7.4. This year, 7.7. He's also shooting 70% on hook shots, and he's taking hook shots about twice as often as he did last year. If you guys remember after the postseason last year, I talked about how Joel Embiid is too reliable on that mid-range pull-up jump shot. He's got to have a more consistent shot-making game closer to the rim. We're seeing some encouraging stats there that could bode well for him in the playoffs. Really just needs to stay healthy at this point so we can see him and what he's capable of in April and May.